and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right now. And a good day to you, sirs. That is Ira. That is Corey. Guys doing all right? Everybody good?
Yeah, man. Just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my time.
Oh, we got a lot of it. It's going to be great.
It's the first time we've been
golfing together more often.
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't mind golfing. We hit from the Reds, right?
Let's go. Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. It beats the lot of work, and yay, sausage to that.
So
that register sausage.
What are you saying? First time in studio and what?
Feels like 2 months. First time we've been in studio together. 6 weeks at least.
It might be, January, because I think
I don't think Hamilton had resigned yet.
Oh, for sure not.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No,
because all of February we had to do the player interviews.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's
so
stretch. Yeah.
I feel like it's been a minute. Then Ira was in Charlotte last week, and I was somewhere else. I was in Biloxi the week before. We're all back, gang. We're all back in time for spring practice. Baseball going on. Got a coaching staff to fill out on the basketball teams. A lot of stuff going on at Florida State University.
Well, we'll hit on it.
Well, after Ira tells us everything about. By the way, again, I'm going to keep harping on this. Last night, Corner Pocket, they have the registered sausage bites. So it's a little cross promotion. They're really good. They're just the bites of sausage.
Are they like fried? Do you know how are they prepared?
They're not fried. I guess they're skilleted it up.
Right.
You skillet it up. They put it on a plate with a side of barbecue, and you just take it and dip it in your barbecue and eat. Or you can get honey mustard, Carolina Gold, whatever you want. It's unbelievable. Like. It's unbelievable. It's really good.
You think on the menu it says get them skilleted up? That's one of the options for preparation.
By the way, I
don't like to go into the weeds and all my culinary talk, but that's what they call it.
That's what they call it in the biz.
Yeah, yes.
Skillet it up, boys.
By the way, when we went up to we actually went up to Atlanta this past weekend to see Ben Schwartz. It was a really good show, comedian. But anyway,
I'm going to be in Atlanta this weekend.
Oh man, we missed each other. We should have planned this.
Yeah, it's good times.
But we had a breakfast on the way at a Waffle House. It's been a minute.
Oh, it's always good.
They skillet up some stuff on a Waffle House.
Watching the chefs, the short order cooks, skillet it up.
Yeah,
it's unbunbelievable.
Yeah,
that should be an Olympic sport.
Short order cooks are my favorite view.
It's unbelievable.
I just want to stand up.
Yeah.
Kim was like, this should be YouTube content, just showing just a close up of what is happening.
It is oddly satisfying.
Yeah,
it is weird. It's like watching
just cleaning him cleaning it after between.
And they're yelling 100 things at him, and it's just locked and loaded in his brain.
Let's go.
It's crazy. Triple egg, scrambled cheese, two slabs of bacon.
I bet short order cooks, if they were good athletes, could be good quarterbacks.
Because they're seeing everything too. It's all making sense. It's all a puzzle piece.
Oh yeah,
they've got this down. I see what you're trying to do.
They see people
right here. That's going to morph into two. Yep. Here we go.
They see me walking in. He's thinking double hash browns. He's already got it in his mind. He's predetermined where he's going with that.
He wants extra mayonnaise.
Yeah, right. Give him a packet.
But I don't know if they have registers.
They need Corner Pocket does. Well, Waffle House definitely needs some registers.
But you can get registers. Personally, if you're in this part of the country, if you're blessed to be in this part of the country, go to your local grocery store and Publix's and Walmart's and Costco's and say they all have it. If they don't have it, ask them and they'll get it delivered. Ben and his people will get it trucked there. They'll all the varieties. Or if you're in a different part of the country, go to registermeats.com, have it shipped to you. You also can get the merch, the sharp hats and the hoodie that you have. You rock all the time.
I used to until the cat hair got on it.
My wife grabbed the register sausage hat. Yesterday, we were kind of doing a little spring cleaning when I got home, doing some stuff. It's starting to happen. And she's like, do we need this?
What do you mean, do we need this?
Snatch that out of your hand.
Do we need you? You should have said, do we need you?
Woman, get back in the kitchen and clean up in there. What are we doing here? I was appalled. I couldn't believe it. So I said, give me that hat. We're good. We still got everything we need. So yesterday was the luncheon. We want to start there?
Sure.
We started
Norvell's comment.
Start of spring football.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where we should begin. Everybody's going to have their because we all talk to different people. So I guess we could. And if you go to warchant.com, you can read all of the stuff. You can see the videos and the transcripts and everything you need. I know that Corey, you wrote a story gleaning what you thought was interesting about Mike. What Mike said. I found nothing interesting about what Mike said yesterday or very little anyhow.
Well, that's the difference between the way I discern
there's
things.
There's a lot of
you,
nuance over here on this side.
Yeah, you're more of a black and white guy. I see shades of gray.
But I also don't think there was anything much he could have said that would have interested me, frankly. Hey, there was some. There were a few nuggets, a few kernels.
I did think, and we'll go back to what Corey wrote, but I did think, and I just wrote about Norvell kind of adapting to the CEO role. I do think I did
talk about that.
I thought he was much more comfortable talking about that and embracing that and how it can help them than he has been when he's talked about it earlier. You know, I felt like when he spoke about Malzahn coming in and him being more of a CEO, it felt like maybe a hostage video.
Like this is thing.
I had to do this because you guys all want me fired.
It almost also felt like we'll see how it works. Like his Norvell say, well, we'll see. It's still my team. I'm still going to be involved. A little
defensive.
Yes. Now it seems more like. Malzahn just waltzed into that luncheon whenever he wanted.
Topic, that's a whole other topic.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I didn't think it was forced. I thought he genuinely. I think he realizes, and this is the thing, man. This is one of the points we made about Jimbo when we had this debate. And this isn't, whether we were right or he was right or whatever. But the reason why we wanted Jimbo to be a CEO and not the play caller, not because he couldn't call plays.
Yeah.
It's just, man, there's a whole team going on. Yeah. You got 100 dudes and all this stuff's happening, and you're just so focused on the offense. I think last season,
fall into that play sheet, baby.
For Norvell last season, I think as the season, when I kind of just putting some things together from things I heard from people, as the offense was just spiraling out of control, he spent more and more time trying to figure out how to fix his offense.
Did he ever succeed? Do you remember?
There was that Charleston was.
Yeah, Charleston Southern. They felt the wrath.
Big day at the office. Big day at the office.
But no, I just think that's what he was like. Man, I got to fix this offense. He's trying to, so that, and now meanwhile everything else is going to hell.
Yeah, it was all on
so
fire.
I do think, I don't know if he believed it, but I do believe after 2 or 3 months of spending time with defensive players, spending time with staff members, and just really evaluating what's going on in his program, I think the light has come on to him that, man, I can have an impact even if I'm not calling plays. That's at least my viewpoint. Your viewpoint?
No. We don't disagree on this. I think I said yesterday on the show when we came back in from the luncheon that I thought CEO Mike was born.
Right.
That's the way I phrased it. I agree with you. That's what I took from that. I don't know that he has much of a choice. I think he was, kind of in his mind, reluctant to do it like you guys are describing, but I think now he has no choice but to embrace it. I think he can be effective in that role. It will be interesting though. I think it's going to take some getting used to. I thought that he got caught up at times really trying to, and I don't know I talk about this a lot about coaches shows. So this wasn't a coaches show yesterday, but I think the same thing holds true. When you get these guys in those situations when they have to answer questions at a coaches show, especially after a loss, there's nothing really they can say that's going to lock in with the crowd, the fans. Yeah. They're not going to be like, yeah, okay. Well, in that case, they're just kind of going to be nodding like, whatever, man, stop losing. That's how they're going to respond to it. So you can't win in those settings. And I felt like he kind of came into that. He was relaxed. I agree with that. But then the longer it went on, the more I felt like he wasn't saying anything. He was just kind of trying to make these same 4 or 5 salient points over and over again, no matter the question that was asked.
Well, he's always going to be Mike Norvell.
It evolved into the same answer.
Because I don't think he wanted to trash, last year's team and coaches. I think that's why he's never going to come out and say, man, that was a.
Yeah, but that's why I thought it was telling what he said he was looking for in the portal this year, and obviously talent would help. That's a big plus to get guys that can play. But yeah, I mean, when you look at that team last year and what they thought they were doing in hindsight, as we sit around from it now, 12 months from when they started spring practice last year, what were they thinking? Like, what did they
bet on guys' future?
What was best case scenario? Like Malik Benson as an NFL first or second round pick, and Jaylen Brown is the next Rashad. Like, what were they possibly thinking?
In each individual one, and
Portier,
I know
Williamson.
I never talked myself into that, but I talked myself into some of the other ones. I talked myself into Marvin Jones Jr.
Yeah,
I talked myself into Malik Benson. Hey, man, he had a quarterback in Alabama that didn't really see the offense, and he was the third target. He wasn't going to get the ball very often. Okay, I can understand that. You look at Jaylen Brown, man, that kid coming out of high school was unbelievable.
He can fly.
And LSU was loaded at receiver, so he couldn't get on the field there. You could each individual one, you could kind of talk yourself into it. Where I think, and what you wrote about in the piece, which wasn't about the talent, it was about the personalities and the mindsets, which I thought was so interesting, is I think where they got it totally wrong was I think they thought bringing players into their system would make them adapt to the Norvell culture. Like whatever Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and all those guys had, they thought that's just in the DNA of the program now. Yeah. So you bring these guys in, and that's what they're going to become.
They'll assimilate.
Yeah, but meanwhile, all the good guys had left.
Yeah, there was no culture to assimilate to.
And so that's, to me, that was where it fell apart. But he, like to Corey's point, he by him acknowledging that, man, they knew they had to go out and get guys who were alphas and could be leaders and could make not just want to play well and say the right things, but really care about it. I mean, I think that did paint how they went about this business.
You mentioned a lot about connectivity. You mentioned a lot about trying to connect with guys where they're at, quote unquote. You mentioned a lot about speaking to players individually. That tells me that he realizes there was a massive disconnect.
Sure.
And it tells me that he lost his team. Now, that's not me taking a shot at Mike. It's just clearly they were tuning him out. You don't go 2-10, and as you've said many times, that was a better team than 2-10. Yeah. You don't go 2-10 and continue to do the same dumb things every week if you're paying attention to what he's teaching you during the week in practice. It doesn't happen. So they tuned him out, and he recognized it. And by the time he did, it was too late, and the die was cast, and he was screwed. And so they played out the string, and they went 2-10, and they went through the motions, and it was disgusting. And he wants to avoid that at all costs. So I did take that away, that like I'm going to sit down across from guys. I'm going to have more time to do it because I've handed the keys of the entire offense to Gus Malzahn. Better work. We'll see if Gus is any good. He was on the cusp of getting fired at UCF. That's why he got this job, was that he wasn't going to keep his job. So maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But we now know Mike is freed up to at least connect to his players on a daily basis, because it seems to me that he's hell-bent on doing so.
And I think it's going to be important on the other side of the ball. We're a lot of the talk about Mike removing himself being coordinator is about what Gus Malzahn's going to do with the offense. But I really think, Mike Norvell is the primary recruiter. And this is why when you were critical of Randy Shannon and people have been critical of other assistant coaches on that staff fairly in recruiting, my pushback has always been, man, if you watch how they recruit, Mike Norvell is the recruiter. He sees himself as the closer. He's the focal point of all he's the one that meets all the kids in the parking lot. He's not like a lot of these head coaches where that's that guy's recruit. That's that guy's recruit. They're all Mike Norvell's recruits. But then when they would get here, the defensive guys would go with the defensive side of the ball. And so now he doesn't really have that connection. And I remember towards the end of Coach Bowden's tenure where players would talk about, not even at the end, just in the early to mid 2000s when things were starting to go the wrong direction, they would talk about how they didn't have a connection to Bobby Bowden anymore.
Sure.
This wasn't the Bobby Bowden they thought they were coming to play for. And that's just life, man. He's 70 years old at that point. Well, Norvell's not that old, but if you're so focused on one side of the ball, you lose those connections. So, I think that's definitely part of it.
Especially when you think about how bad it was. And he was spinning, trying to figure out the
100%.
Offense. And that was taking up 90%, I'm sure, of his bandwidth. Was why are we the worst offense in the country? What do I got to do to fix this offense? And then, maybe you don't really focus in on a Tuesday practice and be like, why do our guys always never run to the ball with any urgency? Why is that never a thing on this side of the ball, Adam? Now, I'm sure they had those conversations, but we were there for practice. And Norvell, after every play, good or bad, in team, is looking up at the screen,
board to
seeing what went well with the offense.
Yeah.
And it's like, what about your defensive end that just stood up? Like, maybe now you can address that. And I think Tony White and Terrence Knighton would probably address it too. But maybe now you have more bandwidth to address, like, effort and urgency and the way you play, not just X's and O's. That play worked. Here's why.
It's interesting to see that a guy who's had awful lot of success quickly rose through the ranks amongst coaches to the point where he could be a candidate to get the FSU head coaching job, turn the program around, have a 12-0 regular season, win the conference. It's crazy to think that even in a situation like that, and maybe that's the marriage of where we're at with college football being a year-to-year thing to some degree, and the changing of the rules and unlimited free agency in essence and all that other stuff. But it's crazy to think that you could do all those things, have all that success, and then to just watch the whole thing crash and really not recognize that it was happening. It's fascinating to me. That to me, when he's talking about going back and evaluation being the most critical part of success, he said that yesterday at the press conference, like he had to have been appalled that somewhere along the way that clearly, the reason you would hand over your entire office to somebody else is that you failed to see any of this coming. And now I wonder, Like, does he say, okay, well, this is the best path for me to become the more well-rounded and best possible head coach I can be, is to accept this as the role of a head coach in modern college football? That this isn't, you can no longer be the guy that is just calling plays and focusing on one side of the ball. You're going to have to understand and have your finger on the pulse of everything that's happening in your program. It will improve you as a recruiter. It'll improve you as an evaluator. It'll improve you as a communicator. It will improve you as a CEO. You have to be those things. So that'll be fascinating to watch.
And I think you could do it the other way if you have an unlimited budget to have an unbelievable staff. You know, if Dabo Swinney can roll out there with Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott running his offense, and Dabo Swinney or Brent Venables running his defense. Yeah, man, he can be the CEO kind of guy and not be that involved. Or if you're a play caller like Lincoln Riley or something like that, if you've got a great staff around you, you could do it. But I just think that they had a bad combination where Norvell valued continuity on his staff. I really think he was so in love with the fact that he had kept that staff together and that they all liked each other. They all got along. I think he put that, the fact that they all got along and that they were, just good guys. I think he put that over a lot of other stuff, and it was masked by the fact they had a really good team. And then once that got exposed, I think he started looking under, like, wait, why are we doing this? And why is this happening? And I think he took a lot of things for granted. And listen, man, at the end of the day, the reason Nick Saban's Nick Saban, and we'll see if Kirby Smart becomes that, or we'll see if Dan Lanning comes back, it is, can you maintain that edge when you had success? And I think Norvell, if you asked him and he spoke honestly, I think he'd say he took his foot off the gas a little bit.
And they certainly brought in players that didn't have their foot anywhere near a gas pedal, but anywhere near.
They were riding the brake.
Yeah. I mean, they were trying to look for a parking spot.
Hit the gas,
please.
You lazy sons of bitches are killing us. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
No matter what printing you need to keep your business running, we can help. Hi, Jason Butera here for The Printery. Reduce your stress and give us a call. From new product brochures or posters to yard signs, postcards, even letterhead and envelopes, The Printery sets the standard in personalized service with outstanding results. We offer full-service graphic design and free pickup and delivery. The Printery, home of 36-cent color copies. If it's ink on paper, we've got it covered. Call us today, 877-6418. 877-6418.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Pauls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
All right, about that time to upgrade my iPad and my Apple Gear. How much memory do I need? What upgrade should I get? What size screen? How many chargers do I need? USB-C, USB-D, mini USB, USB-B, ABC, 1, 2, 3?
If only there was a local business that can guide you and help you understand what you need and get you the best pricing possible. Oh, wait, that's what they do at Mac & More Systems. Get help buying the right gear for the right price and have it shipped directly to their store for pickup, all at no extra cost. That's the kind of service you won't get at any big box store. Shop local at Mac & More Systems. Find out more online at macandmoresystems.com.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Switch this over. Damn it, man. I was rolling, had a perfect
Get
game
it together.
Going.
Perfect game going into the second.
Ruined.
I hate when that happens.
The problem is when you strike out the side, expectations.
Yeah,
so
immaculate inning.
high. Next thing you know, 9 pitches, we're feeling good, and I serve one up. So let's talk about I want to address a misnomer, and I think it's interesting. The three of us have been around the block. We've covered some sports in our time.
We've been around the block now.
It's a weathered group. We've seen some things, okay? I don't care if we have access to practice or not. It doesn't personally hurt my feelings. I'll do my job. I'm good at it. I've done my job for years without access to practice. Many times over. All of you have as well. I don't know if it's just a reflex to what they think, meaning the audience thinks will happen, but that's the immediate thing upon the announcement yesterday that practice is closed to the media save for one scrimmage, is that immediately you get a percentage of our listeners and readers that are like, yeah, F the media. It's good. Do your job. Suck it. Yeah. That's just like pure stupidity. It's a certain mentality. But anyhow, I don't care. I'll go spend my days doing something more fun than watching special teams. It's going to be great because they spend 80% of their time on special teams.
maybe that's why he did it.
That might be part of the problem last year's squad.
He's tired of hearing you complain about special teams.
Talk about the special teams practice.
Christ. Anyhow, so there's that. I don't really care. We'll be able to discern on game days whether or not he's doing his job. If they suck, we'll know.
For an example, when we were at the Democrat and we used to do our preseason magazine, we put Jameis Winston on the cover of the magazine before he'd ever taken a snap for Florida State.
Right.
Because we knew what was happening in practice we couldn't watch. Based on what we were hearing.
You did it.
Yeah. So it's not,
the spring game helped too.
We'll still know, but we knew.
Yeah. Well, I know.
You'll know. We'll know who's playing well, who's not playing well.
Right.
Well, listen, man, it's not going to be close to everybody. Recruits are going to be there. Boosters are going to be there. Staff that, talk. Well,
tons of sources that we've cultivated over many years.
So it's not like we won't have information. We're going to be flying blind into August. It's just, listen, I see both perspectives of it.
But hold on. I just want to
finish your thought.
All I'm saying is that isn't an issue. It's a different conversation to have, a more nuanced conversation to have when it's just a matter of whether or not you think it's a good look, a bad look. Then you can value that opinion or not. You can say, I disagree with Jeff on this. I disagree with whomever on whatever it might be, whatever our opinion is. That's a day-to-day conversation. But it's a different conversation. It's not like, we're butthurt that the media has been excluded from practice. It's more, interesting. Your philosophy has always been this. Now it's suddenly not on the heels of a 2-10 season. It's more nuanced than that because you could say some things have changed since the entire sport has changed. Yes. Yeah. So, right. I get it. It's just that there are layers to this conversation. It's not as simple as, good move, bad move.
I agree with that. And you brought up the look part when we spoke yesterday on the Jeff Cameron show.
Still doing that.
Lengthy one.
Lengthy visit by you? Was it 4 minutes?
It was more than 4.
Okay.
More than 4.
More than 4.
I feel like it was 6.5.
That's about all you need.
Yeah. My point was, I just don't think you can care about looks, and if it looks bad, I get it, man. There are people, the immediate reactions on Twitter when we put out the statement, a lot of them were, "Oh, 2-10 this is what happens," and it's
certainly feels that way.
So that's going to be the instant reaction from a lot of people. I did talk to him a little bit afterwards, after the press conference yesterday, and got his perspective. And a big part of it is how much the landscape has changed. And I get it, man. I'm not writing about it because I just don't think anybody cares. I don't think anybody listening to this
about your record.
Yeah, they care. Is the team going to be good?
Correct.
I don't think it has any impact at all on whether they win or lose games.
Well, and he clarified that in the statement.
He did.
Let it be known he doesn't think
the media wasn't the reason we went 2-10. Thanks,
I'm
Mike.
glad he understands that. But even beyond that, it's like even the reasons. I mean, to me, I just don't think it's that interesting to the people who pay our salaries. So that's why I'm not writing about it. We could talk about it a little bit. I see why he wants to change it. My one regret, the one thing I did want to say is if the stated reason for him opening practices is what he's always said it is, that he wanted us to have a better understanding of what the players go through from start to finish
and to document their success.
Yeah, and a kid comes in and he's having a tough time, and then he works through the problems, and then there's a couple players on this team who may be really good players. That, man, well, I'll just go through. I mean, Conrad Hussey and Adam Fuller, I did not think got along very well.
Didn't seem like it.
And so that looked like it was going in the wrong direction. I think most people around the program thought Conrad Hussey was probably going to leave. He ends up staying. Adam Fuller's gone. Now a new coaching staff. Man, if Conrad Hussey turns into something, and he's a talented kid, that would be the kind of story is, man, we saw what was going on in practices.
You have the ability to compare and contrast.
You could tell that story. So that's a little bit lost. But the problem is, and this is where I sort of agree with Norvell, our coverage of it became just play by play. This guy looked good. This guy didn't look good. This guy had a good catch. Sure. This guy, and it's just like, well, that's not really, nobody's inviting the media in for that. But in this world, that's kind of where it ended up going. So, so I don't even know if the benefits, I think over time, the negatives far outweigh the benefits. So he's saying that might be back in the fall.
I doubt that very seriously.
That would be crazy if that happened.
Breath on that one, Ira.
Maybe maybe a practice a week in the preseason.
I actually think that's the way to do it, is to have you out there maybe once a week,
right? Occasionally,
so you're not just documenting who won this rep and that rep, right?
But during the season, man, it is completely pointless because they're doing installation stuff for a game plan. You can't write about any of that. Well, you can't write about the depth chart. You can't. So it's like, why are we? Then what's the point?
And when you're 1-4, nobody cares that Loane McCoy had a nice catch in 7-on-7.
And I would never argue with you on that point, because I don't even go to the practices once the season starts.
I wasn't going to bring.
I bring that up. I would never go to a practice during the season. What's the point? I'm going to see Saturday whether or not you're practicing well. That's all I need to know. The thing of it is, though, I do think that I think it could have been handled better. I think it was a weird thing to send out an email 40 minutes before you take to the dais. Like this is a guy who's done a great job. I'm going to praise him, of talking with all of us individually and collectively like men, like professionals.
Yeah.
He's talked about having an appreciation for the job, understanding what our roles are in the workplace, understanding what we're trying to accomplish and what it means to be a journalist. And because he respected it in the past, he would pull us aside minutes before speaking on the record and say, look, guys, you guys are going to be welcome back at practice again this year. However, you can't do this and you can't do that. And if any of these rules are violated, then I'm going to have to change the policy. That's the way you deal with it. That's the way you deal with it. It just seems strange to me that we all kind of thought this might be coming. And then you get an email right before you take and it made for an uncomfortable exchange, I thought, to some extent. It wasn't necessary. I just thought it was weird.
Well, yeah, and again, we would stop this right now. But like, we never complained about Willie Taggart not having practice or closing practice because it was never open. Right. The only difference here is that it had been open for the previous 5 years, and then you have a 2-10 season and it's shut down. That's when we talk about optics. That's the only optic that bothers me. Is like, is this a cornerstone? Is this a foundational cornerstone of how you run a program or not? Clearly it isn't, but yes, things have changed. You felt the wrath of having a disastrous season at a place that isn't Memphis or Arizona State or Tulsa. This is a fulcrum, man. Yeah, and so when you live that and you bring in a whole bunch of new coaches who might not be all that excited about media being there,
right,
then I can understand. You're like, you know what? It's more important for me to get this program. Now, I don't know that it's going to matter in iota, but it's more important for me to make my coaches feel comfortable and have them coach the way they need to coach and my players than worry about upsetting the media.
And the reality is, man, it was never a 100% approval rating from the coaching staff about us being out there in the first place.
Yeah, most coaches
there were several coaches on that coaching staff who complained to Norvell all the time about the media being out there. So he's been he's got this thing he wanted to do. He thought it was important for his program. He did it back in Memphis. He wants to keep doing it, but he's got a bunch of staff members who are kind of, nagging him about it. Then you add in the changes. And this is what, and I think you guys mentioned it a little bit on your shows yesterday, but I think I'll say it again for people that don't watch all of our content.
Yeah.
There might be a few, one of the realities of the world today, the reason, Nebraska's canceling their spring game, the reason a lot of these schools now are not doing spring games is because this is a very important time where if you're putting out information about guys who are doing really well, you're going to get tampered with. There's another portal window opening up. And so if we're tweeting all this stuff about this guy looks good, this guy looks great. Or
if Wayne McCoy has like 2 touchdown catches every practice and we're writing about it, well, all of a sudden maybe Miami's like, you know what, Wayne, you're not going to play a ton with Deuce and Squirrel.
Right.
Come here and you can play with Carson Beck, something like that.
So those are, it's just another one. To me, it's just like, if Mike Norvell was, and I don't think he was doing this, but if he had the pros and cons up on a grease board,
he probably did. He probably
did.
Ira's going to be.
I like seeing Corey. I like seeing Corey. What his straps are looking like.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe Jeff will come out. And then the cons. I think the con list just kind of kept getting deeper and deeper. So
yeah, I do. I will say I never thought I'd do this, but I'm going to praise Deion Sanders and the guy at Syracuse, Fran. I mean, they're talking about playing each other in the spring game if they can get the NCAA to approve it. That's the opposite.
That would be.
I rather enjoy it. I say, bravo, good idea, good idea. Come on, you come here, we highlight you every day. We don't care who's watching.
It is a wild that it's completely shut out. Like I thought it would go back to Jimbo era where you get in for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even Willie. You get in for the first 15 minutes, you get some pictures and videos, and can observe a little bit. Because now, I mean, I'm getting online. I'm looking at LSU's. I'm watching Patrick Payton at practice.
Everybody's got more open.
So we went from having completely wide open
best deal in the country.
Worst.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Mike.
Completely shut. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. Right.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
Images of a flattened community center in Pebble City. Toppled trees and shredded roofs are coming out of Mitchell County after a tornado was reported in the area around 6:30 a.m. Sunday. Radar showed a tornado debris signature about 7 miles west of Doe Run, Georgia. Local officials on the ground reported around 7 a.m. that some buildings were damaged with trees and power lines down across Georgia Highway 37 and Sales City Road in eastern Mitchell County, which is near the area where the tornado was reported. A federal judge in Tallahassee on Friday denied a request to block Florida's ban on social media for young teens. The social media law, which was supposed to take effect January 1st, would block anyone under 16 from using some social media, but would allow 14 and 15-year-olds to use the online services with the parents' permission. Companies that violate the law could be fined up to $50,000 per violation. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 77. Winds out of the east around 5 miles per hour. 48 tonight, mainly clear skies. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 80. Much cooler Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 60s. Chance for showers Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 70.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
On the front lines, fighting the insanity of the woke, it's Matt and Brett Oster with America in View.
Matt, Florida has become the world leader for freedom, and I love being in the studio with you every week where we are reinforcing the conservative movement with truth, the Constitution, and a little redneck common sense. We're waking the woke.
That's right, Brett. We enjoy talking politics and what's going on in the world. We're bringing our take on the issues, doing our best to fight for freedom.
So tune in every Friday at 4 p.m. on Real Talk 93.3.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Tell you who I was impressed with, and that's Tony White. It was the counter opposite of Gus Malzahn, who was the least impressive man in the room. But Tony White was fantastic.
I think Gus is going to be hurt to hear that.
I don't
because
think
it felt like when he went in, felt like he's like, I'm going to win this room.
Yeah, this is important to me. It's important to me, guys.
Woo!
I got to talk to these FSU fans. I want them to know.
It was a little odd, undermining even. But Tony White was fantastic. I thought he was really, really good. I talked to him a little bit. I know you talked to him a lot, right?
Yeah.
That's an impressive individual.
He is. Yeah, that's a good word for it.
I think he's impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope it works.
Yeah. No, and listen, man, I go back to with him on that side of the ball, and the scheme thing's going to be interesting because I do think from one standpoint, obviously it's going to be an attacking style of defense. You hear him and Terrence Knighton, the defensive line coach, and Evan Cooper, the safety coach, the guys that came with him. They talk about how many opportunities it creates for big plays, both in picks, TFLs, sacks, forced fumbles. I mean, it is a defense that's going to create big plays. It's what it does. On the flip side, you have seen some defenses that have a similar style that have gotten run on a lot. And so, we'll see. So it's going to be
interesting. He may not be able to run it the way that he wants to just yet.
And we don't know what the personality has. And so it is interesting how confident they are about some of these players. Like Terrence Knighton talked about Darrell Jackson.
Yeah.
In a way that we talked about Darrell Jackson before we saw him play in games.
Because anybody that looks at him can't understand how he's not going to be a dominant player.
So
look at him.
Can they unlock that? The James Williams kid who came from Nebraska. I mean, there's some pieces that are exciting, but man, especially after last year, I feel like I'm looking for a little pump into the brakes with some of the way they talked about some of these guys.
We talked about that on Wake Up Warchant, because Aslan played the clip of Knighton talking about James Williams, the new defensive end from Nebraska. He's gained 15 pounds or so. He's like, Knighton said he should only be here for one more year. Basically, he's going to be an early entrant into the NFL draft. And then he said Darrell Jackson should be the first defensive tackle taken in the draft. He's saying this out loud. Which is
you see the
right.
Cameras? You're like,
yeah, but he's saying it out loud. Yeah. Like I'm kind of all about that, man. I because for so long, God love Odell, he could have Broderick Bunkley on his team and be like, yeah, he's got a ways to go. He's a hardworking young man. It's like, no, tell us how badass he is. And I like that you could. Sometimes this works. You tell a kid, hey, man, you could be the first defensive tackle taken in the draft. That might be the unlock you need.
I mean, it could be. Who knows?
Speak it into being.
It could be. I mean,
he's also got some real ability.
No, he definitely does. He definitely
saying
does.
that to Kendrick Stewart. Is that his name? Who's the kid that could do the backflips?
It's Kendrick Stewart.
Okay, sorry, Kendrick. Bud Thacker, one of that. He's saying it to a guy that's going to play in the NFL. Right. And James Williams certainly has some ability, but it's like, man, and I joked about Wake Up Warchant, like they don't want us to maybe watch these practices to give too high of expectations on these players. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the new D-line coach is saying his tackles can be the first one
out here, guys. We're gonna roll on,
and they haven't even had a practice yet.
And Gus Malzahn, he'll it's part of his ethos is that we're gonna have the best offense in the country. Like he says that everywhere he goes, every season. And so now Tony Tokarz is saying the same thing. And so
so did one of the old linemen that we talked to a couple weeks ago said it. Hansen, right?
I think part of that is, to your point, do speak it into existence. Have that confidence. It also sets you up to look silly.
I mean, 2-10 looks silly. Like it's if you go
can't do any worse.
If you go 5-7 next year, a few people might poke fun at you, but you got bigger problems than you look silly in March.
Like you're unemployed.
Well, that's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
That's not a huge problem for Norvell, actually. He'll be okay.
He'll be okay. He just want to have a job.
He'll land on his feet into a mansion.
The stark contrast between the two new coordinators was evident to me, and it's enjoyable to talk to Tony. I know we're never going to get anything out of Gus. That's abundantly clear.
Well, it's also part of where they are in their careers too, right? I mean, Tony White's still upwardly mobile. He wants to be a head coach. He's still figuring out like what he wants to be in terms of, dealing with the media and all these types of things. I mean, a couple of years ago, he was at Syracuse getting interviewed by those college kids.
Yeah.
That Dino Babers would always just chastise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a kind of a new terrain for him. Whereas Gus Malzahn's like, man, I've, been everywhere, done everything.
Do you think Gus Malzahn thinks that in any way, and he might be right, and it actually might be a positive way to look at this, that this is beneath him?
Oh, I think he thinks
this role is beneath him.
I think
it felt that way.
I'm just saying it, but it kind of makes sense when you've been an SEC head coach and a pretty good one. And you won 9 games 2 years in a row at UCF to then be an OC answering questions about, Keziah Holmes.
I feel like he's been humbled a little bit. He was going to be fired last year.
Well, maybe.
I don't think he was going to be fired last year.
He
might
was
have been
on the
fired
hot seat coming into this year.
He was in deep trouble.
They couldn't afford to fire him. So I think this was a happy solution.
A
to
happy
Why
landing
don't you
spot.
take it on down the road so we don't have to fire you at the end of this year? Yes.
But you wonder if, and also, is that even a bad thing? Like, if you think this is beneath you, well, go prove that you're better than being an OC at Florida State by having a good year.
Yeah,
too.
and I don't think the one thing I would say the connotation to that would be like, is this, he's not taking this to just retire and just coast. I do think he's a guy that believes his offenses are going to be the best in the country. I think he believes he's the best offensive coordinator in college football. There's good data to argue that, but he
might be able to cite other programs and their success
But
rates.
I do believe that that's in his mindset, and I do think he's going to work hard, and I think he's going to try to do everything they can to have a great offense.
I hope.
So I don't think it's, when you say beneath him, I don't think that's going to affect his performance.
Right.
But yeah, man, I think he thinks he's
The
Gus
cock of the walk?
Malzahn. Yeah.
The cock of the walk?
Yeah, for sure.
The bell of the ball?
For sure.
And
that's, honestly, one of the interesting subplots to this whole season, and I don't know how well we'll be able to document it because we won't be in practices, but how Gus.
What if we pose as the construction workers
who were standing around?
Well,
and they've made great progress, so we're going to have to be doing something.
We're going to have to do something. We're going to have to, I don't know, I'll have a hammer. Give me something to hammer for a little while. You're going to.
You'd love to be up there in a hard hat, shirt off, dripping sweat,
man, just
swinging a hammer.
Absolutely. The shirt off, like the village people. I have a village people costume.
That's what Ira was describing.
Yeah.
Yes. I was kind of getting excited actually, over here. But
a blowtorch? Do they have blowtorches
bronze
up there?
tan or that spray tan again?
I get a spray tan and my
Just
blowtorch.
the mustache, shave the bottom
Maybe
part.
no shirt but suspenders.
Yeah,
I think is the look.
But if I have a hard hat, they won't be able to pick me out, and I'm just sitting there occasionally, just
Monitoring
looking to
that
see the
situation.
7-on-7.
What's the dynamic between Gus and Mike?
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah,
here?
who's
What are
what?
we
Yeah,
getting at?
is Norvell barking at him? Is he?
And then the foreman's like, "Who's that guy over there? Hank, what's your name? What do you?"
sorry, Skip. Sorry, and then start banging something again.
You just, I got the nails. That's all you would do. You just hold them up, say that over and over
I got
again.
10x4s, 10x5s, whatever you need.
Insulation.
Anybody?
Insulation. I do think it'll be interesting to see, and maybe we find out later, or just from talking to people, Gus is going to have to let Mike Norvell be the head coach, though. And Mike Norvell is going to need to let Gus be the offensive coordinator, right? So that is going to be a work in progress. That's why, again, I think I felt good about the way Norvell accepted it yesterday. I didn't always feel that when we talked to him earlier. Like, I feel like he's at peace with that part.
It's an interesting dynamic, and it kind of goes to basketball too, because it doesn't sound like Stan is maybe going to be a part of the next coaching staff. Doesn't sound like he's going to be retained. That would have been such an odd dynamic for Luke to be Stan Jones's boss. That's just weird because Stan recruited him. He saw him when he was 18, 19 years old. He coached him for 4 years. He's always been, and then all of a sudden you're telling him and barking at him if he does something wrong. That's an odd dynamic that a lot of people would struggle with. And then also, like, Malzahn gave Norvell a shot.
Right.
So what is that dynamic going to be like? Is Norvell comfortable enough in his own skin? And he should be, because he's had a 13-0 season and won multiple conference championships at different schools, to tell Gus, no, you're doing it my way. Yeah. I don't know that dynamic. I don't know anything about that dynamic, but that is something that will have to be discovered as they go along in this thing.
It would be odd to have to remind him that he was the head coach. I would like to think that that's all understood. Although I get where we're coming from.
Gus has never taken an order from Mike Norvell in his life. Gus has always felt like a mentor, and now it's
But I think most of the time, and in all seriousness, I think most of the time, head coaches do a real good job, even Jimbo did, of letting coaches coach. I mean, I'm bringing you in. Now, we may have problems behind closed doors, but out on the practice field, like, you don't see that kind of interaction occasionally. But there's not usually an undermining. There's not usually a situation where I got to yell at you in front of players.
We saw Jimbo do that a few times. But, no, I don't think Norvell would do that. And I don't think Gus would talk back to Norvell. But it just in terms of asking for, guidance. Like somebody goes to Gus and says, hey, what should we do about this? Gus is used to making decisions. And so is he just going to make a decision, or is he going to say, hey, coach, are you okay if we do this? That's a difference. And it's it may not have a tangible impact on anything, but listen, man, staff, players, everybody kind of sees everything, just like in your workplace. Anybody, if you work in an office or a hospital, whatever it is, you watch those dynamics and how people work with each other. And, that's going to be a part of it, man. It may not be a difference in a win or a loss, but it could be just how those two get along.
It's going to be fascinating because I think at the end of the day, what do you think? Let me just ask you, do you think Gus Malzahn ever wants to be a head coach again?
I personally, without knowing him and knowing what he thinks, I do think he does. I think the way he sees this is just, again, human nature, knowing his career. I think he knew it was not going in the right direction at UCF, and it probably was not going to get better next year. And then he would be fired, and then that might be the end of the road. Whereas you come to Florida State, and again, this
salvage his name.
I've always said, man, this job would be super attractive because you get pretty good players. You don't play great competition, and anything you do on offense is going to look like you're a genius after what happened last year. So I think he sees this as a chance to come in, reclaim my reputation, and then maybe get a head coaching job in a year or two. That's what
curious. We know Tony White wants to be a head coach.
Sure.
So this is an upwardly mobile path and a great opportunity. Defense sucked last year. Here we go. We got an opportunity to do some things there. I just was curious your all's thoughts.
And
on
I know that
Gus wants
and
to
I
be
know,
a head coach.
and I know what Gus said, and I know what I just wrote. I quoted him as saying that he liked the idea of getting back to being a hands-on coach, not dealing with all the BS.
Hated being a head coach. He's even said before.
I get it. That's fine. But if they have a really good season on offense and this team does have a turnaround, he gets a lot of credit for that. And
Arkansas fires
whoever,
Pittman.
Yeah, I definitely could see that.
Yeah, I do too. I think he wants to be a head coach again. I don't think he wants his last head coaching experience to be basically being ousted at UCF.
And I'll be surprised if this is this iteration of this coaching staff. I'd be surprised if it's Mike Norvell and Gus Malzahn and most of the staff for multiple years.
That was my next question is how long do you think this arrangement lasts? Is this a year? Is this 2 years? Is this a stopgap so you keep from getting fired?
I mean, if it goes tremendously well and nothing, and he does realize that he likes this, then maybe it lasts longer. But I think, man, if it doesn't go well, they may end up having to make crazy changes. And if it does go well, I still think if he can get something else, I think he would do it.
I think 2 years. I would give everybody here 2 years, I think.
Yeah, unless it's a disaster, right? Unless they have a sub-500 season like we've talked about or something along those lines. Corey, I think you said it's a 10-game season because they've got 2 automatics, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about 10 games that you look at by which to judge them. And you wonder what their record is in those 10 games.
And then probably 7 of them, probably you have the better talent, I would think. 7, maybe 8.
Yeah.
I feel like you have comparable talent in all of them. Comparable. Like it wouldn't be a stunner if you won all of these games. It also would not be a stunner if you lost all of them. It's comparable talent. I mean, obviously it would be a stunner if you go 0-10. Right. But I'm saying like what Virginia Tech coming and beating you here, while it would be surprising and depressing, it's not
nothing would be shocking about who you lose to anymore.
It's not a 16-1 upset in the NCAA tournament. It's not Virginia versus Maryland, Baltimore County. So I think that's when I say comparable, you play well, you can beat anybody. And you are allowed to play well. You are allowed to play up to your competition. Again, Florida, Alabama.
Clemson on the road would be kind of shocking.
Yeah, but I'm saying that roster isn't worlds. It's not 2020 rosters comparisons. I mean, they're pretty similar. I'm not saying they're going to win that game or should win that game. I'm just saying you should not be blown off the field by anybody.
I would agree with don't be blown off the field. I don't think you're the better team. You're not better than Clemson.
That's why I used the word comparable.
Yeah, maybe,
I didn't say better.
How comparable? Well,
that's the one game that I would say you'd have to play incredible.
You guys are idiots. Just slack-jawed idiots.
Yeah. I think you're hyping this team up a little bit, Corey.
I said they have a comparable roster.
They're akin to Alabama.
They have They were blown off the field by Clemson last year. They weren't. They were in the game in the fourth quarter, and they had
you never once felt like
100%.
Zero chance.
And that was here, and this is going to be there.
I didn't say that. Zillion opportunities in the red zone. They were playing with their food.
I did not say they were going to win the game. I'm just saying when you look at the roster, when you look at the star rankings, when you look at who's going to be drafted, who the NFL players on both rosters, I don't think one team has 14 draft picks, another one has 2. I think they're comparable. That's all. I just think they're comparable, like 60-40, 70-30. I know y'all think they're going to lose 50 like it's Notre Dame last year.
I think they'll be a double-digit underdog at Clemson. I think. Sorry.
I mean, whatever.
You couldn't convince us.
No, comparable. That's all I'm saying. It's comparable. It's not. Who are they playing? Texas A&M, Eastern Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
It's not that in Florida State.
Yeah.
They're closer.
Yeah,
than
no,
that.
they are.
It's not a
great we weren't saying like that's a guaranteed loss. We're just saying that.
I think it is a guaranteed loss. I literally do. I'm just saying the rosters aren't so.
If they're comparable, how do you have it as a guaranteed loss?
There's shades of comparable. There's shades of comparable.
I was trying to meet you somewhere, Corey. I was trying.
There's shades of comparability. Is that a word? Comparability? There's shades of it. Same with Florida and Miami, and even Alabama. You have a comparable roster.
There's one.
You can compete. How about that? You have a competitive roster with those programs.
It's like the one time I was lying to my mom, and I lied. I was saying so hard to my lie.
You would double down on them.
She was. I tripled down. I'm telling you, Mom, that's not what happened. And just to the point where she was thinking about it, and then I broke down. I was like, okay, I did it.
No,
yeah.
Don't you understand that any part of a negotiation is the silence that you have to let fill the room?
That's what she did. She said, just sit in the room for a little bit and think about it.
Yeah. You broke.
Completely.
Hey, if we ever commit a crime with this guy,
you
can't let him separate us.
We got to kill him.
You definitely know. You knew that ahead of time.
When they take him into the other room, we're going to look at each other. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. 30 seconds in, Norvell's spilling the beans. We're dead in the water, boys.
Singing like a canary.
Hey, real quick, because we got less than a minute, but I can't go to break just yet. Have you seen this story? We're not going to talk about it because we don't have time, but the story about the Canadian Olympian skier who's now a major drug lord who's on the FBI most wanted list.
I saw it on Twitter. I didn't click on the article.
That's insane. Go read that. They're going to make a documentary of it. This guy was a Canadian Olympian for snowboarding and downhill slalom and all this other stuff. He's now one of the biggest drug kingpins in the world.
Did you guys
straight taking people
You're
out?
going to bring up the baseball player in Michigan?
No, I was going to bring up there was a
Heisman
Heisman Trophy winner. Like from the 60s, there was a Heisman Trophy winner that we think killed his ex-wife and her partner.
No.
Yeah, there was a big trial. There's a Bronco chase. That's on Netflix too. There's a new Netflix documentary on the
player that was in the car.
Yeah.
About this.
That's right. They were talking about Al Callen,
and he had a career post NFL too.
Yeah.
Right?
He was an actor. He was at the game of the century with Florida State Notre Dame. He was the sideline reporter for NBC. I don't remember his name.
Sideline reporter for Florida State, Nebraska in the national championship.
That's right.
Killed somebody.
Allegedly, man, I don't know. It could have been
still looking.
It might have been a drug deal gone wrong.
This thing found out at some point. Hour number 2, forthcoming headliner questions. Hang in there, kids.
All the way. 222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away. Water license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
Hey,
Everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansfornoles.com. That is, again, loansfornoles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Noles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansfornoles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing, NMLS 373031. Roofing and construction services. T-Bar.com. We conquer all creeks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Bar Enterprises. Roofing and construction services. T-Bar. T-Bar.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. You're listening to Seminole Headlines with Ira, Corey, and Jeff. Stay tuned for more headlines coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
First for the NCAA tournament today, North Carolina 4.5-point favorites over San Diego State, while St. Francis is a 3.5-point dog against Alabama State. Florida Gators, the number 1 seed of the West region, open up Friday in Raleigh, North Carolina at Lenovo Center as a 28.5-point favorite against Norfolk State. You can bet Florida against the field to win the national title. The field, the favorite at -600, Florida plus 380. Gators to reach the final plus 190, to reach the final four -125, Elite 8 -240, Sweet 16 -750. $250 bonus when you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with a sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort. Now, I know you're probably spelling comfort in your head and asking yourself, is that possible? Am I just a really bad speller? Look, I don't know your spelling aptitude, but Skechers most definitely put the S in comfort. Because Skechers is the comfort technology company that has developed fits and features that change everything you know about comfort. Like hands-free Skechers slip-ins, the ultimate in comfort and convenience. It's footwear you just step into and they're on, with no bending down. Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
When you need the plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to wait?
Hey guys, we really need you over here. My toddler just flushed a whole bunch of toys down the toilet and everything, and I mean everything, is backing up.
2 hours?
Hey guys, just checking in. The water has reached the hallway now, and it's getting pretty deep. Can you get here anytime soon?
4 hours?
Hey guys, can you please hurry? Now my wiener dog is doing the backstroke over here, and they're not known to be strong swimmers. Hey honey, grab his life jacket.
8 hours?
Oh,
So now you're here.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. Our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. And now M&L Plumbing can also be your go-to for all septic tank pump-out services. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing. Your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or online at mnlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Hey, Greg, did you know that some cars are more prone to auto glass damage than others?
I did not know that.
Yeah, a Jeep windshield is flat, making it very prone to damage. Nissan Rogues are popular. Toyotas, Subarus are always in my shop because they get damaged frequently and they require recalibration.
So you guys see a lot of SUVs.
Yeah, I guess the angle of the glass has a lot to do with it.
But it's not like you can avoid a rock no matter what you're driving.
Exactly. So just go to SeminoleAutoglass.com and let us take care of everything for you.
So how often do you see a DeLorean?
From time to time. Better call Seminole.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines and headliner questions coming your way. Great to be with you as always. And our thanks right out the gates to Dr. Birch, Heather Birch, Dr. Birch Orthodontics, if I can say the word. Dr. Birch Orthodontics. You can do it. She's only been a sponsor for like 20 years. Anyhow, we love Birch Orthodontics. And I love that Clark's got like sort of this, they're retainers, but they look like Invisalign.
Oh, they're cool.
Instead of old school retainers.
Oh, yeah. Times have changed, man.
Oh, no more of those wires. None of that nonsense.
Yeah, they were gross back in the day.
That's good. They still are.
Okay, good.
They're in your mouth.
Do they still have that pink thing you got to push up in the? Because that's the one I had 40 years ago.
This is it just goes over the teeth.
Okay,
just keeps them in place.
All right.
But Birch Orthodontics is. We can't speak highly enough of them. All of our kids have gone there. Our friends' kids have gone there. She is the orthodontist to the stars. I think that's what she should put that on her.
Yeah, it should be on the door.
Right.
When you walk up, you're like, oh, wow.
Orthodontist to the stars.
T-Pain goes there, right? Are we pretty sure T-Pain's gone there?
I'm sure. We'll just start naming people.
T-Pain, Norvell, Mickey. All the big ones.
It'd be great to walk in and see Mickey Andrews waiting in the lobby, striking a conversation. Hey,
I heard you guys say that she'll do all ages.
Yeah, all ages.
BirchOrthodontics.com is the website. And if you have any needs in the orthodontic realm, go get a free consultation. They handle tough cases, all the latest technology. Just great people, and they'll talk a little football with you. They love the Noles.
We're gonna go 5 for 5 on Facebook questions. Just the 5 questions.
Okay.
All 5 outstanding.
All 5 total questions.
A total of 5 questions.
I'm about to declare victory.
No, you're crazy.
Did you do this on your way in?
No, I did it last night, like 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Maybe I need to do it early. It's Facebook, so maybe I should do it a little earlier in the day.
People are in bed by 7.
You're right.
Yeah. Well, but they're all good. I like it. So here you go. Zach says, after 19 games, does FSU have the front runner for ACC Player of the Year, Alex Lodis, Freshman of the Year, Miles Bailey, and Pitcher of the Year? Name any of the 3 starters. The weekend rotation.
I'll defer to you guys and the other 2.
It's really impressive. Lodis is having himself a season.
It's crazy.
Holy moly.
He's got a brother. He's got either a brother or a cousin, but I think it's his brother. That's the leadoff hitter at Georgia Tech and is also really good. And I'm like, Alex, why isn't he here?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Well, they got a pretty good leadoff hitter here too.
But he could be he'd play somewhere.
Yeah.
I think he leads the conference in doubles. But yeah, Lodis that's a revelation how good he's been through 19 games.
Big step forward from one year to the next.
And Faroe too. Yep. And Faroe's had a really good weekend. And
surpassed his home run total from a year ago.
It's crazy, man, because their starting staff now again it's 3 ACC games. That's it, and it wasn't a very good ACC team. It was still very impressive what they did this weekend against an ACC team. Yeah. But to have the highest ERA of any of the 3 starters is like 0.82.
It's insane.
That's nuts.
Alex's cousin.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then never mind. You're not going to talk to your cousin.
Kyle Lodi's.
You're not going to talk to your cousin into coming.
Yeah. Nobody talks to their cousins anyhow.
Right. Yeah.
He's hitting 456.
Yeah, something like that.
It's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, he's having himself a year, and he always seems to. I mean, I know some of this is random, but God forbid he comes up with guys on base. That's your ass. If you're an opposing team, he always seems to drive the ball well in those situations, which is nice. And then their starting rotation's very, very good.
Got Miami this weekend though. Let's see how they do on the road.
I love it.
They got to see how they play on the road.
So that you may be right. By the way, Miles Bailey, the home run he hit was left center, wherever that was. That was a bomb, and he's obviously got a lot of pop, and they may have a superstar on their hands.
Yeah, I was actually in the car on the road this weekend, and somebody
did it hit your car?
Yeah,
texted me during the after that home run. He's like, "Oh my! Wait till you see where this was hit."
It's insane.
Yeah,
he does it all the time too, to the point where when he makes contact, even on balls that don't leave the yard, you're kind of like, "Oop, that could be," because he hits them so high too. It's insane.
And this is where I'm not a great baseball fan. I'm not a great baseball purist from the standpoint of some other friends of mine who are really locked in, and one in particular is like, man, every time he hits to the opposite field, I'm fired up because that's what a huge step it is. I want to see him pull the ball. Hit it as far as you can hit it, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, that's dead center. Hit it to dead center, about 480. They've never. He reminds me. I said this on Wake Up. He's not the player, because who is really when you hear this name? He's not Caglione as a hitter.
Right.
I mean, who is?
Well, maybe not even Babe Ruth.
Right. But he reminds me of Caglione last year, the Condon guy too at Georgia, where even if they don't get it, it could be a home run.
Right.
Like he doesn't have to actually barrel the thing. He just has to make contact with it. He doesn't have to I don't remember Florida State ever having anything quite like this. I know they've had some of the best players of all time. I'm not saying JD Drew wasn't Miles Bailey, but the raw power to where you don't even get it.
Well, he's a mountain of a man.
I can't compare him to anybody else that they've had through 20 games and what he could be
with the commensurate skill.
Yes,
because they've had some big jokers occasionally through the years who weren't great players. They just
And I know all about Sorrento. I mean, I know these guys, Ledbetter. I'm not naive. I'm just saying from when I've covered them, they had a lot of like 5'10", 195 guys forever. But even their bigger guys, they weren't this big and this powerful. It didn't seem.
Yeah, he's on the all uniform team as well, like you're saying. Yes, Jason writes, "Hey guys, Jason from Charlotte."
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking if Mike Norvell doesn't turn out to be the long-term coach for us, curious who you'd like to see brought in. I hope it works out for him, though. He's a great character. Jason's moved on. I think
he's already done.
I think Jason's made abundantly clear. He's already moving on. Like, best of luck to you. But anyhow, who are we bringing in next? I don't even know how to answer that right now, Jason. I mean, goodness gracious. Dan Lanning? Yeah, he's not leaving Oregon. Be good. I like Dan Lanning a lot. That'd be my choice. I've mentioned it a few times. Tom gets mad at me, but I'm just letting you know. I don't think it's a viable option. I don't think he's coming here.
Where's Dan Lanning from? Is he a Southern guy? Maybe he would want to come here. And Norvell's his guy. They work together, right?
So when Norvell gets fired,
he's going to come and take over. It's like, well, he's still keeping the legacy going.
Right. Got a pretty good thing going in Oregon, Corey.
Pretty good, not great.
They got a little money.
I'm just saying, have they ever won a national championship? No.
Marlon writes, "Good day, gents."
Dillingham, by the way.
That's who you're bringing in?
Just saying, Dillingham would be on a
year to year
on a list.
We'll see.
Yeah, I know.
Marlon writes, "Good day, gents. I see the cracks in the ceiling, man. Pressure's on, Coach Norvell. Is change good, even when you're changing the core of who you are? Has the FSU head coaching job gotten too big for Mike Norvell? Will he make it past 2026? I don't know. Love the show, even without your practice access."
That's sweet.
Some people are responding.
And James B sent a question in last week on Wake Up Warchant about, why are you guys, and he didn't phrase it rudely. He was just like, why are you guys upset about a change in media access when
I'm not upset.
Or why would it matter when you wanted him to change so many other things? And which is fair. Like, change the way you practice, change the way who you bring in, the evaluation process. That's fine. It's just, if he hadn't mentioned it the very first thing in his press conference about how this is what he wants to do, that would be and so the point being, it wouldn't bother us, and it still doesn't really bother me. It bothers me that he changed it, not that I don't get to watch practice. If that makes sense.
Once again, it's a different conversation.
Yeah, right.
I don't care that we don't get to go to practice. It's just,
buddy, I'm freed up.
Does it represent something?
And
what do you think it represents?
Think about your mornings in the fall now, Ira.
Can't wait.
Think about your mornings in the fall. You don't have to roll over there till 11 a.m.
It's gonna be great.
You're gonna be at the Village Inn. You Perkins, Bob Evans,
my McDonald's coffee crew.
Yeah,
I want to be one of those guys.
Oh, one of the old guys that gets there at 6 a.m. and y'all just yap it up for 2 hours.
Back in the
Jeff
day,
is already one of those people.
No, I'm not at McDonald's drinking coffee.
Yeah, but you've been an old man for a while now. Even though you're not old,
in terms of my schedule,
your schedule getting up and
I get up and go to bed early.
Yeah,
I mean, I get up early, I go to bed early.
So those coffee crews,
but
the
I don't
old
trust
guys,
myself is why. I know. If left to my own devices, I'll get into things that I shouldn't.
You need some structure in your
I
life.
have to have structure.
Yeah.
I say take it to bed because if I'm up much past 10, we start drinking.
Yeah.
So I go to bed.
and you still get up at the same time, even if you've been drinking, right?
So you can't do it.
Yeah, you can't
I gotta
win.
be I'm dependent upon.
Yeah, right.
So
That's good. That's
I
fair.
gotta do some things. I gotta go to bed.
But yes, would you bringing in Malzahn, as we were just talking about? That's a big step, man. That's a big personality. That's somebody that's done a lot. And but when you go 2-10, you do feel the need, even if you believe everything in your soul that you're a really good coach. You have some really self-doubt has to creep in.
You'd have to be shook.
You'd have to be you'd have to be shook after 1-10 essentially. So he blew it up and is starting over, and hopefully it all works.
Is there a StreamYard question I missed, Ira? I saw you glancing over there.
No. I'm just
All right, here we go. There we go. I've got it better. I thought we were getting yelled at, and I needed to address it. No, we're not. Nathaniel writes, so Mike is completely reinventing himself. I'd honestly be more okay with it if he'd just shown up chain smoking, fat as hell with a greasy mullet.
Yeah.
But this feels scattered, scared, and uncommitted to me. Oh,
So
well.
can
I guess the pressure is honest listeners to ask you guys content-driving questions from here on out.
That's right. So yesterday, Gene Deckeroff was there yesterday.
Yes, he
luncheon.
was.
Do y'all remember what he was wearing?
No, but he had a cane.
He had a cane. He had a brown leather jacket, and he was wearing sunglasses.
I knew he was wearing sunglasses. I said, pimp, when he walked
Yeah.
in.
So anyway, I hear Norvell from across the room say, "Good morning, everybody. How you doing?" And I look over and see Deckerhoff out of the corner of my eye, but I thought he was Norvell. And I'm like, oh my God, Norvell has completely changed. He's coming in with a cane and a brown jacket and sunglasses. I was like, golly, Mike, he's really owning this new look. I literally, for like half a second, was like, oh my God, what is he wearing? Because I didn't see that they were walking at the exact same time.
Actually, to break the ice and make the announcement that he did, it would have been hilarious if Mike had come in a fur coat.
Yeah, or like a feather boa around his neck.
With a staff and sunglasses. What's up, y'all? I haven't changed.
What's up,
I just had some fun with it. That's just another concerned reader listener. Sean writes, okay, gents, just looking at one answer from each of you. Gun to your head. Who's winning the NCAA basketball tournament this year?
Florida.
Could be Florida.
Could be Florida. I'm going to go with Duke.
Just to be different, but Florida's
looks like the best team.
They very, very impressive.
They very, very much look like the best team.
So I was texting a buddy of mine who's a Florida fan, and I was like, so tell me the Clayton story again. Because
they're all American, right? The guard. Yeah.
So he, coming out of high school, he was a football star. Like a lot of schools offered him in football, but didn't offer him in basketball. In fact, he wanted to be a Gator. This is according to my buddy, who I believe 100%. Wanted to be a Gator. He's from Bartow. Well, that area. He, Mike White didn't want him. Didn't offer him.
Good job, Mike.
So that's why part of why Mike White was pushed out.
There. Yeah.
And then he ends up going to Iona, and then he goes back to Florida. But, so it's just like a lot of people are pointing to Todd Golden getting that Clayton kid out of Iona is like, oh, this is the guy. This is just shows how great he is. Well, this kid always wanted to go to Florida. They kind of fell into it. I'm not taking anything away from Todd Golden. He's obviously a good coach. They have a really good roster, but that's like, man, it's like Derwin James growing up wanting to be a Nole. I mean, like sometimes you get lucky.
You get lucky.
With those guys.
By the way, how about that poor Iona coach? That dude takes the job. Yeah. All the players are gone as he goes in. Yeah. He wins 17 games each of the last 2 years. Like, get the hell out of here. We've got an assistant coach that played here at Iona, and he's going to spend more money on players.
That's what happens.
So you got to go.
Think about how much like Louisville, all the money they're putting into their roster now, they didn't put in with the previous coach.
I feel like they might have been throwing money into a toilet with the previous coach.
It's very possible.
It
is just interesting to see how that all works out.
Okay, gents. No, that's
Lauks better be pumping some money into the programs. All I'm saying.
He's hard at work right now on that front. So I've heard. By what game next season? We're over to Twitter now. We answered the 5 for 5 like that.
Okay, those were good though. Those were good.
Kept it humming. By what game next season will we know what this team is capable of? That's from Garrett.
I mean,
I say after the Virginia
pretty
game.
early.
4. Is that 4?
That's
Yeah.
the 4th game. After
Yeah.
the Virginia game, we'll have a handle on who they are.
No.
Not the Alabama game, and certainly not the 2 blowout wins are going
Yeah.
to get over those bums.
I think we'll have a pretty good idea after Alabama.
Do you really?
I do. I mean,
I don't know if you know
wow.
this. A team makes its greatest strides from
Week 1 to week 2.
1 to week 2, so you're not going to know
You were
for
here
sure.
to cover Bowden, and you heard that speech.
Yeah, yeah.
And yet you just let it.
You
one
done
ear
it,
out
yeah,
the
it
other,
just goes
man.
through your ears, man. You don't even take it in.
Yeah. So once they went to year-round conditioning and working out and practices all
You
summer
don't
and
think
spring,
it's true?
I kind of
You
went away
calling
from
him
that.
a
I think
liar?
things may have
Call him
changed
a
a little.
liar.
I think things may have changed a little bit from back then.
Have some respect.
So back in the day when people did say that, Coach Bowden did say it, a lot of coaches said it, the way it worked was kids went home for the summer and then they would come back in shape or not in shape. And then they would work their way into shape in fall camp and then they would play games and then you would see that progress.
Big jump.
Man, now it is 12 months a year. These kids don't ever leave. You're going to know what you have, I think, in week 1. If they don't look good at all, I think we're going to know. And if they look like they,
It's just
it
crazy.
doesn't determine your whole season. We see teams look different week 1 and later, but I think we're going to have a pretty good idea. Do they belong on the field with Alabama or not? If they belong on the field with Alabama, yeah, man, I think they should, as Corey said, be as good as anybody on their schedule. If they don't, then you're going to have a lot of dicey games, I think.
I still stick with my 4th. Like, even if they stick with Alabama, maybe they beat Alabama. If you go lose to Virginia, yuck.
Yeah, you're not losing to Virginia if you beat Alabama.
Oh, all right. Well, that's good enough.
I just want you to know. You know, put that pin.
Put that pin.
buddy.
Sorry,
That's a
Cavs, you're going down.
4-0 the moment you beat Alabama.
Virginia shouldn't even show up.
Yep.
I think it's a Friday night.
It's a Friday night game. They'll think it's a Saturday game. They'll forget it's Friday night.
Come get your ass whooping is what I'm saying about that game. No, I hear you. Although the only nuance to this, the only pushback I have is that I do think certain teams are going to corral this quarterback from running because they'll have the personnel to do it. Others will not, and he'll run wild. But the ones who do, he's going to have to be a passer, and I don't know how well that's going to go. So there may only be a few teams that can do that with their personnel. Clemson being one of them, Alabama being one of them. We'll have to go from there.
You're talking about the teams with comparable rosters.
I'm talking about the
Florida
ones
State.
Yeah, better players. Yeah.
Comparable.
Dan writes, has anyone on your staff reached out to the New Jersey drone operators so you can get a bird's eye view of spring practice?
They're going to be IPF probably mostly, right? Won't they probably be practicing in the IPF mostly?
Yeah, a lot of it, yeah.
So we're going to have to – do they have like X-ray drones where you can see through buildings?
You think they would notice if we just buzz the drone in? Like it just
just hung up. They got drones all over their practices anyway. It'll just fit right in.
By the
like
way,
a traffic jam.
Another reminder of why I'm excited not to have practice access. It's a little stuffy in that indoor practice facility, boys, when it's all crowded like that, and they're actually a little stuffy for my taste. So forget about it.
You know what doesn't give stuffy is a golf course.
You know what else does?
It's a lot of breeze, a lot of wide open spaces.
And that wide open air on the back of Tavello.
Listen to this guy.
A tall, cold one, baby boy. Let's go. Here we go.
You talking about Tavello Brewing? Oh, look
Tavello,
at that.
I got a coaster. I need actually I need a can of it, and I could just drink it.
I can bring some back.
You could shotgun it.
That would be a nice ad. Would that be okay?
Probably not.
Okay. Tavello Brewing up in Thomasville, Georgia. Man, it's up the road. Man, I remember back in the day when you and I worked in Thomasville, Corey. And I would come down here with our women at the time. Mine is still the same woman.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say different ladies.
Yeah, mine was it was a different
Ladies
one each
of the
week.
night.
It was a different one each
We
week.
would come back from Thomasville to go to the movies. Because the movie theater in Thomasville was not all that back in the day.
No.
So we would come to the big city.
Yeah, we come to big city.
Come to the big city to go watch the movies. And it felt like it was an hour drive from Thomasville to Tallahassee.
It's not though.
Because it was just one lane each way.
Yeah.
Now, man, it's
65 to get from Tallahassee to Thomasville.
So you tell the ladies to put like their emergency horn on the keys when they came to the big city. Maybe the
Oh yeah, they're whistle
eye contact.
Yeah, no eye
Keep
contact.
walking into the theater.
Yeah,
Tallahassee now.
Yeah.
This isn't Thomasville. This isn't Coolidge.
No, they'll punch you.
We're not walking into Meg's.
No.
Pavo.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tavello's right up the road. You can be there. And it's like basically going to Target up there on Bannerman.
If you live in Killearn, it's 25 minutes away.
Go up to Tavello, try out the beers. They have, they'll give you the sampling of the flights. You can do all the different variety of. They've got a bunch of different kind of craft brews, from the IPAs to the stouts to the coffee blonde, which we love so much. They have the Rose City Lager, which is kind of like just your standard lager. It was my go-to before the coffee blonde,
but better
was introduced, of course. And just great people, Maurice and Lynn, that run the place. They're just awesome. And huge Noles, as you mentioned before. I think you mentioned last week. They got married in an FSU football game. Just great staff, great beer. Go check them out.
Tell them Headlines. Seminole Headlines sent you, and you get a free keg of whatever. Do they do kegs? They do kegs, right?
I mean, they have kegs.
Yeah, you'll get a free keg.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's nothing in it. It's an empty keg, but you get to fill it with whatever you want.
But you get a full one if you have the capacity to carry it. So the
If
truck,
you can-
like you have a truck.
Right, that's
you
the
load
contest.
If you could throw the keg, a full keg, on top of the building, it's like the big 76 or whatever, 96 or whatever. You can eat this.
The whole 96er from
I feel like I could eat 96 ounces of steak if I were up against it.
Man, that's 6
Not
pounds.
now, but I think
6 pounds
back
of
in the
steak.
day,
Yeah, I guess.
as a young 20-something-year-old buck,
I mean,
I'm eating 6 pounds of steak.
at one sitting. All right.
It's not good
It
for
might
you.
be a fun contest for all of us to
You gotta
watch.
eat the grizzle first, though.
Yeah, that's true. Get that out of the way. Yeah.
Agreed. Yay, Tavello. There you go. Not steak, just Tavello. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our used showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Ain't nothing but a G-pop, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby.
See? Remix.
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Hey, fellas, am I not mistaken? I think I'm right. It's $1 a week right now if you signed up. If you sign up for the new for the membership.
I know we have a new deal going. Let me look at
a crazy thing. Maybe it's 50 cents.
I'm going to look it up while
you
talk.
Quarter. It's crazy.
It's like half price
all right.
It's
I'm going to look it up real quick.
Really cheap. It's unbelievable. So now's your time.
Get up in there.
Get you that.
Get up in that Warchant.
Yeah, you get that Warchant membership right now. It's like 50% off, as Ira's pointing out. He's looking. He's double checking.
And they're going to be better this year.
You think so?
Literally, yes, I do. I don't know if they're going to be good, but they'll be better. They'll be better.
The reports or the
the site's always great. The site doesn't lose its standard.
Yeah, it's
not like the program did.
Yeah, it's $1 a week for the first year.
Insane.
What in the world? Come on,
guys. Less than half price.
Give it away.
Yep.
Sign up if you listen.
It's less than an egg. It's less than one egg per week.
I don't know how in the world they expect to afford you, and me on $1 a week.
I know.
Yeah. So, guys,
you know what you do, guys? When you sign up, tell them you want to give them $10 a week.
You think? That's
just say that instead. Say, guys, I get it. Thanks for the offer.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I want full freight.
Yeah,
I'm paying full freight. These guys are too good.
$10 a week.
I can't take this
$40
discount.
a month. It's not right. It's not right. Yeah, especially since all of us deserve raises.
Yeah.
Just throw it in there. Walter says, howdy, gents. Gonzaga's going for the Platinum Bohica with 10 straight Sweet 16 appearances if they get it. Wow.
They got to beat the Dogs. They got the Georgia.
10
that's
straight.
incredible.
He goes on to say that he thinks the SEC is overrated.
They got I think Gonzaga's a 9 seed. It's crazy. To me, it's crazy that I don't care what Texas would have done in the WCC or the ACC. When you go 6-12 in your league,
it's a toughie.
You should not be in a national
tournament. Those were 6 quad 1 wins.
It's just so ridiculous, man.
Hey, yeah. How about we throw our ire towards North Carolina?
No.
Yes.
No. North Carolina is a blue blood. They've won national championships. They've had some of the greatest coaches in the history of the sport.
And somehow are like embraced in the same way that like the NRA is. It's insane the way come here, we got you. Don't worry about it. The overwhelming evidence suggests you're garbage. But don't worry about it.
North Carolina almost beat Duke in the championship game. Texas without Cooper. Well, what is he? Who is he? Who is he? He doesn't do anything. But yeah, I think it's bad for the sport, man. When you have a team that finished 14th in its conference, getting to play for the national championship, and a team that won its conference by 5 games.
You got to get that 14th team in.
It does give us something to root for when they all lose in the first couple rounds.
There you go.
I think there's like really only 5 good teams in that league. You know, I don't know. Georgia isn't anything special.
I will mention that others said at the time that Florida State got absolutely screwed by the committee. That hey, if you stand down for this, it's going to happen again. Well, we just watched.
You think Florida State got screwed in the? Oh, you're talking about football. I was like Florida State. I agree. They should have been on the bubble.
I'm talking about committees.
Yes,
just
correct.
Making things up.
Yeah, when they have 68 spots, everybody's in turmoil about a team that went 7-12 after January for not being the 68th team in the field, but the team that was undefeated.
I think the problem is they don't even hide anymore the appearance of impropriety. Bubba Cunningham's the head of the committee. He gets $100,000+ raise.
He's not in the room. He's not in the room when they're discussing North Carolina, that doesn't have any impact on anything.
None whatsoever. A little random, but do you think you could win the Masters if you got? This is from Justin.
Oh, no.
I've seen this question before.
No.
Do you think you could win the Masters if you got to start on the green?
Oh,
but at the furthest point from the pin, while every other golfer in the field had to start at the normal tee box. This is actually a great question because if you don't know the greens, there's a chance you're gonna have a 9. I mean, seriously, like you'll roll it off the green.
So, I mean, if I 4-putt every green,
but you won't, Corey, because some of those greens,
I might 2-putt a couple, my man.
Once
Daddy gets the speed down, it's locked and loaded like a robot.
Let's say the winning score is 14 under.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if I just 4-putted every green, I'm even par for the tournament. That's 4-putt. That's a 4 on every hole. That's a 72.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm shooting 70. So
you're not winning with
No, I know I'm not, but I'm saying 4-putt, I feel like is like one of the worst scenarios. I'm going to 2-putt a couple now.
But you're going to also...
I'll probably sink a 65-footer,
You're
too.
going to 8-putt a hole.
Well,
you are going to 8-putt a hole. I don't think you can. You specifically?
No, you've seen my short game.
Yeah, I have.
So I'm definitely not.
I feel like if I got to practice on those greens for a week, I feel like I'd get a handle of it a little bit.
I think this does matter.
And what
If
about a
somebody
good
taught
caddy?
You how to read the green.
And do I get a good caddy?
Yeah,
that tells me, hey, you got to hit it right up on this hill, and it's going to trickle down.
Yeah, that matters. That matters greatly. I agree with you.
If I 3-putt every hole,
well, you're not.
I'm shooting 54.
You're not, but you're not going to 3-putt every.
All right. I'm just saying. It seems.
It's a fun question, Jeff.
Only one way to figure it out.
Let
me go play. Could you ask to go play Augusta?
Yeah, I think it's how it
just
works.
the greens.
Well, you just tell me you're Corey Clark.
I'm Corey Clark. I grew up in Georgia, and I'm just
putt.
putting on your greens.
Yeah, that's all. I won't even take long. I'll just get in and out of here. Don't worry about it. Chris says, at what point will the FSU lineup get more respect? Through 19 games, its numbers are almost identical to last year's. 2025 has a better batting average, the same amount of home runs so far, and its OPS is only .005 lower. I figure you're going to point to the UF game, sure. But remember, there were some stinkers last year as well for the 2024 group.
I think it's just a matter of, they've played one good team. They played one good team and they scored 2 runs against it. But it was a Tuesday game. I'm not putting a lot of stock into it. It's just I'm not saying they can't be good. You just have to prove it to me. You have to prove it against better competition. Starting really this weekend. I mean, Miami's not great, but that's a tough place to go play, and that'll be an important series for that team down there. And they have legitimate pitching. So show me you can bomb away against them and not like BC and James Madison.
R.A. Noel writes, gentlemen, thank you for the birthday shout out. Does Ira think Laux will bring in more gritty coaches on the floor types who shoot from coach type? I got to reread this, guys.
Well, I think he's talking about
more gritty coach on the floor types who shoot from 25 feet with proficiency. Also, is it true Corey told Coach Mike Norvell that if practices weren't in the afternoon, just close them down? just shut them down.
He finally got the message. He's like, this guy's going to keep complaining about.
Well, we already know one of the coaches that Luke Laux is bringing in. So that's exciting. Yeah,
Michael Fly, who was
here many moons ago.
Yeah, he was started out his career here. Went with Andy Enfield at Florida Gulf Coast when they were Dunk City.
He was at JU.
Later became head coach there, and he's been at JU as an assistant coach. He'll be joining the staff. It's funny, man. I think Luke's staff is going to be interesting. He's definitely, from what you hear, he definitely knows he needs to get some guys that have recruited at a high level because he has not recruited in college basketball. And then also, I think he's looking at targeting somebody who's got a lot of head coaching experience. That's another thing I think he would like to have. And the nice thing is, man, college basketball, you can have 5 assistant coaches now. So you can,
mix it up.
You can fill some different needs. And happy birthday, R.A. Noel, because I wasn't here last week, so I didn't get to say it. So
but
that was a really nice post.
Yeah. We did robustly.
Yeah.
What about the players on the floor? That's what he was asking more about. Is he going to bring in coach on the floor type? Basically, he's asking, is he going to recrut some white kids that
like
can
him?
Shoot? Yeah, that can shoot.
Coaches on the floor, great
gritty.
route runners if
Gritty,
they were football players. Good hands.
I think shooters will be a high priority.
Yeah.
Listen, if you talk to him, he's clearly the NBA influence is a huge part of what he is as a coach. And so it is going to be guys who attack the basket. What he talked about in his press conference.
Get to the paint.
Score at the rim, go to the free throw line, and have 3-point shooters. And that is college basketball today, or basketball. This is a sport.
Jonesing for FSU writes, gentlemen, love the show always.
And on that note, real quick, the one thing I would say is, you look at like the guy at Virginia Tech, the team they had, the Padula kid who was going to Ole Miss, and they had the other kid from Florida. You
mean the 2 white kids that just lit Florida State up?
What I'm saying is, you can have dudes on the floor who may be limited in some capacities if they can really shoot.
That's a skill that's a lot of people like. It's an appealing skill to be able to make 3-point shots. Shooting, making buckets.
A lot of times that was not really on the menu.
The agenda, yeah. Jonesing for FSU writes, gentlemen, love the show always. Do you think that closing practice off to the media is a positive sign that maybe practices will be more physical?
They're going to be it's going to be bloodbaths out there, and they don't want it documented.
They're going to be playing paintball.
I do think it's going
to be like a paintball obstacle course.
You know how fun paintball is? We should do it.
I
love
fun.
paintball. It's fun as hell.
I haven't done it in a long time, and the one time I did do it, me and my dad didn't know we were supposed to bring our own camo.
Oh.
So I'm in a white T-shirt and shorts.
Can't wait.
And it was a pretty good target. It did not go well. In fact, one of the crazy camoed up guys, like, there's a white shirt right there. He called us white shirts, but I thought they could have at least loaned us. It's like they could have loaned us some camo and they didn't. But it's fun. It hurts. It hurts.
The reason it's fun is because it does hurt.
Yeah, you're really scared about getting shot because it hurts.
There's a sense of urgency.
Yes.
My son Bryce shot me like 9 times when I came around the corner. I said, "This is a bit excessive." I'd beat your ass. I gotta physically put my hands on you.
We're not playing anymore.
Just keep shooting.
We're not playing anymore.
I'm dead. Pap,
Yeah.
pap, 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 pap. I'm like, good God, man. What are we doing out here? Yeah, but it is fun. We should do it someday. Anyhow, I don't know if
Well, we'll do it on a day they're practicing.
I do think they'll be more physical, but I don't think that's why they're closing.
You know what's interesting? I asked Tony White about it. Specifically asked him, would they be more physical? And he said, well, that's up to Coach Mike Norvell. He did a good job of deferring, unlike us. But one thing that he did was
it's gonna be a whole year of this, Ira.
So what he did say, though, was that if Gus wants to run the ball down your throat, and he does, that there's no real way to practice against that unless you are physical. So that almost by definition, it would have to be.
Yeah, and I don't know if we mentioned it or it was last time in the Smash with Tom, but the one of the things that Patrick Surtain talked about was Tony White has already talked to the players about driving your feet through tackle, even in thud. You're still driving your feet through the contact. It's not just holding a guy up.
Yeah, bust that ass.
Even if you're not putting him on the ground, you're getting that physicality. So yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a big part.
Do you think it would be beneficial if Tony White legitimately does not like Gus Malzahn?
Oh man, that would be fun we won't see that practice, but man,
wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that create?
But
I'm saying, I feel like that would create a competitive environment that would be very, at times, comparable to a game. If you're like, I'm tired of this guy talking smack after his team scores another touchdown against me. All he does is yap.
By the way,
all he does is talk.
That can happen. There have been very contentious relationships over the years.
And it can be healthy.
And I think it's healthy.
I mean, I think it was healthy. The glory days of Florida State.
Mickey was,
people would talk about the goal line drills and Mickey and Mark Richt and just the
back and forth. Yeah,
between those guys. Yeah,
no, we've seen it work before like that. I like it.
Probably didn't get enough of that between Atkins and Fuller.
Didn't feel like it.
Didn't feel like there was a lot of that.
Didn't feel like it. G. Brown writes, shouldn't we be more upset as a fan base regarding UF's success in basketball than we are? They have a legitimate national championship team this year. Why has UF been able to create a more consistent interest in culture of basketball there and not here?
It's a fair question because that's not a basketball school. They've had obviously a lot more basketball success, but why? When they got Billy Donovan, they weren't rolling in that much more money than Florida State. They made a great hire.
He flipped it. I mean,
yeah.
You win 2 national titles, it changes your
But Lon
forever.
Kruger had gotten them to a Final Four.
Yes,
Billy Donovan, didn't they get to a Final Four recently or almost get to a final? I can't remember, but they've had a lot of success. And then this guy has what looks to me like the best team in the country. Hopefully they get ousted.
It's
quickly.
a tournament. It can happen.
Hey,
I'm curious.
They play in the second round, maybe UConn. Florida UConn in round 2.
I never thought I'd have to root for you.
Yeah, I'm going to be rooting for Danny Hurley. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, no, because I have been there. I've been there when I was a student there.
You were there for the Shinsis days.
Yeah,
Dwayne, tennis balls.
And then the Don DeVoe days, which were not a lot of fun. And then, Kruger's early years. And so that I used to kind of push back at when they had it going with Noah and Horford and those guys, and they won the 2 national titles. And, Vitale would talk about the Rowdy Reptiles and what a great place to play that was and all this. And it was if they were winning. But once they start, it's not Indiana. It's not Kansas.
No.
And once they started losing, nobody would go to the games.
Right.
I think they've made a couple good hires. I mean, Todd Golden clearly was a good hire. I think if Leonard Hamilton had stepped down a year or 2 ago, and I'm not saying he probably should have, maybe he should have, but if he had, I think.
Well, if he would have, we wouldn't have gotten these last 2 years of great success.
I think Alford probably would have made a run at Dusty May, who was at FAU. I mean, I know that there was a lot of interest there, and maybe you pick him off before he goes to Michigan. So some of it's timing. Florida State's also had success. I mean, this is not a program that has not won a national title, but it has had success, and it can have success. I don't think there was a huge commitment to hire Todd Golden, though.
Right.
It's not like they, went out and
it worked out.
They went out, yeah.
But they didn't go get Dusty May, who had
No.
been to a Final Four.
Right.
They went and got a guy that was coaching at San Francisco. And Luke Lauck doesn't have that history, but he knows Todd Golden. They were rubbing elbows together out west, so they're kind of similar in that way. We'll see if Luke Lauck is any good as a head coach.
Creates the magic. I just miss those Norm Sloan days.
Oh man.
Oh buddy.
His book was unbelievable. I read it in college because he wrote it right after he got forced out. And he talked about, he said he had a great story about when Vernon Maxwell, everybody on the team knew how much Vernon Maxwell was making. And so like Andrew Moten, a couple guys came into his office.
Vernon Maxwell was making.
I think Vernon was probably telling him.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
And so one of them went into Norm Sloan's office and was like, hey, I want Vernon money. And the thing was, and in his book, he's like, I didn't know what he was talking about.
Vernon money. What is this? No, the scholarship.
What is this you speak of?
That's awesome.
Yeah. It reminds me of the South Park episode, Student Athletes. You remember that?
No, I don't watch South Park.
Well, you should, because it's brilliant.
I know.
Trailer Swift writes, a lot of mouth breathers are celebrating that media can no longer attend practices, true, and blame you guys for all the losses.
Not Mike Norvell, though. Again, read that statement. It wasn't our fault.
If these theories are correct, then you are also responsible for all of those wins.
Yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, we had a 19-game winning streak
Can
going.
you please elaborate how you did it and what changed last year with our ability to garner those wins?
Yeah, we should have kept doing what we were doing before.
Yeah, we've switched it up. Jeff just stopped coming to practice.
Well, we got bored.
Yeah, and I would show up late. I would show up late. I'd get there. I'd try to time it right during special teams is when I got there. So I was only watching half of practice. Jeff wasn't watching any practice. Ira's sitting there with his binoculars. But even then, Ira wasn't really into it. You weren't into it at all.
We lost our edge.
Well, the snub didn't just affect the players and the coaches. Correct. It affected us, too. We just didn't care anymore. So that's on us.
Ambassador to Florida wants to know, gentlemen, because of the new rules regarding the practice viewing from media, does it provide a freedom to ask questions that are more probative? Will you be more probing in your questions, Ira, when we gather?
You know what's interesting about that? Practice? When we would watch a practice and somebody would get hurt, we'd see somebody hurt. You couldn't ask about it.
Well, you could ask in a generic way.
How's John Smith doing?
Right.
Yeah.
And then see where Mike Norvell wanted to go with it.
But I feel like now, though, I would think we would be able to say, how's so-and-so doing? If we're sitting waiting for practice then and we see a kid get carted off right in front of us, we can ask, hey, how's John Smith doing? And see how he wants to go.
Yeah, I think the probating part, though, I wonder if I just assumed that maybe it's just my reflex to be defensive, that it's the people who think we don't ask tough questions.
Oh, I don't think that's what he's saying, because he defended us from at the beginning of that. I think he's just wondering, like, you're not out there, so you can't see it. So will you be a little bit more?
I mean, listen, man, if we're
that
not,
is part of
there was a quid pro quo, and that's no longer there. So,
but also, I do think, like, if we watch the receivers just get dominated by the DBs, we don't have to ask Mike Norvell, hey, how are the receivers doing? We know. But we won't know now. So we can say, like, legitimately, who are some of the wide receivers that are making big time plays for you that have stepped up? Or
there is a downside to him keeping media from practice for him. There's a downside.
Yeah, we're coming at him.
Well, no, I'm just saying you have no choice but to ask those.
We're gonna have to ask a lot of questions. Yeah,
and you have no choice but to rely on sources and to maybe report things that he would otherwise be able to control. Where he'd say, "Don't ask this," or "We're not doing that right now," and here's why. We're not there. Well, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what my sources say happened today at practice.
A cynic would say, and I'm not saying I am, because I do believe a big part of the reason why he did want us in practice was because of what we talked about earlier, letting us tell those stories, having context.
Mm-hmm.
But a cynic would say that it was actually better for him in terms of controlling the narrative, controlling the access to news by us accepting that deal.
Yeah, because we didn't want to lose access to practice.
100% correct, sir. Thank you. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
4 women have been arrested and charged in the brutal beating of a man outside of Pockett's Pool and Pub on Sharer Road early Sunday morning. Officers were posted outside of the bar monitoring the crowd around 2:08 a.m. when a fight broke out. Officers saw 2 women, Kiera Parrish and Carnisha Smith, beating the man with a baseball bat. Another woman, Sierra Parrish, stabbed the man multiple times with a 4th woman, Kendra Willis, punched him. TBD did not disclose the man's condition. Police officers were able to detain and arrest all 4 women. Sierra Parrish is being held without bond as of Sunday night. Kiera Parrish, Carnisha Smith, and Kendra Willis all were being held on a $10,000 bond and posted bail Sunday evening. While Kendra Willis was being held on a $500 bond, she posted bail Sunday morning. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 77. Winds out of the east around 5 miles per hour. 48 tonight, mainly clear skies. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 80. Much cooler Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 60s. Chance for showers Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 74.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's Termite and Pest Control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Here you go, fellas. In the chat, Glenn wants to know the one thing that we'll miss being locked out of practice. I'm going to miss seeing you guys every day.
That is.
I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we would hang out.
You can invite us to your group at McDonald's.
We can do that. Yeah. But listen, I don't think it takes three of us to interview Mike post-practice, so I'm going to let you guys handle it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you guys knock it. You lock it out.
Okay.
Get us that information. I'm going to be good without
just the camaraderie.
Yeah, camaraderie. Very real, by the way. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot I'm going to miss. You know what? The one from my perspective, there's a lot of people in the program, from the athletic trainers,
yeah,
to
you
the
run into a lot of
staff
people that we like
that are friends, and
Agreed.
this is going to kind of reduce those interactions. Yeah. Not even just trying to get information, just to people I like to talk to.
In the early parts of practice, before the ungodly oppressive heat begins to descend on Tallahassee, those fun days, man, where that breeze comes through and you're sitting there and the sights and the sounds.
You have the whistles and the pads are
I'm
popping.
not even kidding about that. Like that takes me back to my youth and playing the game and the smell of fresh cut grass and all that. That I will miss that. I will always miss that. I love that. I love that when I'm driving, or when my son's at, when I go to pick him up from high school practice and stuff. That's a really cool, smell and the sounds.
Again,
of all
you
that.
could get on that work crew that's putting together the football only facility. You could find your way on that work crew, and you'll hear all that you need to hear. You'll be that close to it.
It'd be great if you rolled into the studio for your show in the afternoon.
Yeah,
and you're coming in, you're taking off your hard hat.
Yeah,
and your vest.
Tell you what I didn't see at practice today, guys. Go from there. Yeah. I would like it if we could. Somebody was mentioning that I was smoking cigars watching practice, and maybe that's why we got booted out. It's not true. However, that said, what if you didn't pretend to be a construction worker with a hard hat? Because it's hot out there, Corey.
Yeah, well, I know.
What if I sat in the indoor practice facility in one of the finished offices as if I was overseeing the whole thing with a cigar? Nobody would say anything. I'm just smoking that cigar, making sure things are getting done.
Right. Yeah.
And act like I'm supposed to be in that role. The guy's up there. Get to work. He's up. Look at him. He's looking at us.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is. He just started showing up.
He's smoking a cigar. He's got to be important.
Dude's for real.
Yeah. Look at that cigar he's smoking.
In a nice suit, or
no, you can't be in a suit. Yeah,
shirt, like a nice dress shirt,
like a politician that walks into a diner to look like a normal person.
Yeah, with some slacks. Occasionally, a certain type of hat, like I like to wear, those little Kangos. Smoking a cigar, like, let's get to work. Just say that every now and then.
To no one in particular.
Nobody in particular. Just wave your hand with the cigar hand.
Look at your watch.
Let's get to work.
Look at your watch. Shake your head. Dismiss.
Get to work. Let's go. It's been. Yeah,
they won't question you. They won't. And half the staff doesn't even know who you are yet.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
They won't have any idea. And Norvell's going to be too distracted yelling at Gus.
They'll be fighting on the field, and I can come in and not report it. It would be fantastic. That's right. It would be fantastic. We don't have any more questions. I got two of them.
I'm not buying that. But
go look.
That's all right.
Go look.
No.
Go look. Hypothetical: FSU wins the game in Dublin on a last-second kick instead of losing to Georgia Tech by a last-second field goal. Do we go 3-9?
Here's the hypothetical.
Or would the season have gone much differently?
It would have gone much differently.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think they beat Boston College.
Maybe.
I think
maybe.
I think Georgia Tech was such a kick in the that they they did not respond well to that. And also it's coming back across the world. And then you got to play a game against a team who's got a pretty good game plan for you. And I think they were still shell shocked. If you win that game, I don't think you lose to Memphis.
But
I just think the confidence, I think they were shell shocked from the beginning. That's why I do say, as you said earlier, I don't think they were a 2-10 team talent wise, roster wise.
But that offensive line was still that offensive line. Like I don't think they stopped trying.
I think
do
they
you?
cashed it in.
Well,
as
maybe.
the year went on.
Well, that sucks because those guys have played a lot of football and it was their last year. You'd have thought they wouldn't have cashed it in. But,
I'm not saying it was like even a intellectual decision. I just think, man, this isn't what we signed up for. And we've talked about it so many times. That football, when you're not good, it's hard to practice. If you're not going on the way up, if you're at the end of your career, you played 6 years of college football, you're getting your teeth kicked in every week. You know your quarterback situation, you know your receiver situation. This sucks. I think that might affect your preparation.
I do think it's fair.
And I think the defense started to spiral because the offense was so bad.
I also think it's fair to 100% blame the head coach for that. I think you have to. I think you have to say, "Come on, man."
He gets all the blame.
What I'm saying is, like,
1 in 10.
Lots of teams suffer
for letting it snowball.
Right? You can't have.
I know.
Lots of teams. Hell, think back to the glory years, losing to Southern Miss and Clemson. Did Florida State pack it in?
No, they did not. They won 10 in a row.
Every single game.
They won the rest of them.
Year, buddy. They didn't just say,
they don't let Brett Favre kill their
We're not
momentum.
letting this happen. We're going to roll on Big River, be the best team in the country by season's end. The world will know it. We won't get our shot for the title, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they didn't have that. Didn't have those kind of dogs on the team, I don't think. The better question, I think, what if Tommy Castellanos was the quarterback last year? What's their record?
Well, just by being able to run around, they would have won at least 5 games.
That's what I think, right?
6-6 probably.
That's crazy. Like that's crazy to think about.
But no, I do think it speaks to how bad a fit CJ was for a team that couldn't run the ball.
Hindsight, they just thought they were going to run the ball. And obviously, if you bring in Castellanos, you automatically run the ball much better just because what he brings with his legs and his dynamic ability running the ball. Plus, you probably don't lose to Boston College because he's not their quarterback. But either way, like it's just crazy that they misevaluated
it was
bad.
In a lot of ways, man. I think it was a perfect storm. When people ask what went wrong and they want to point to one thing or two things, I think it was a whole bunch of things that interdependently like were significant. But when you put them all together, you end up with.
I think it's also very modern, though, Corey. I think like this could not have happened in '94.
No, it couldn't. You would have been loaded. You'd had too much talent.
You have depth of talent that would never let you.
You have options. You have options, and the problem with that team is they had no options.
But I just wish we would. And I talked to myself about. I beat myself up about this a lot about thinking the offensive line was going to be good because that offensive line played against Georgia. The whole thing played against Georgia.
Yeah.
And it did not look good.
But
it did not look good
against Georgia to start the year. They were playing Georgia
no,
Tech,
but I'm
Boston
saying, like,
College, Memphis, and a bunch of bums.
That offensive line intact played Florida, Louisville, and Georgia.
They didn't opt out.
But they also played Florida, Louisville, and Georgia and did nothing.
Yeah, but it was also, the way
I know it was the quarterback and everything, but it's like, man, if you have a good offensive line, you should be able to run the ball some with your NFL running back. And they couldn't do anything. And it's like that in hindsight was the biggest mistake we all made, was thinking that offensive line was going to be good, including the coach.
But
the coach most of all.
Many of those guys on that line had played well in other games. They had played well. Yeah. I'm not saying they were elite, but they had played well in other games.
And then you brought in a couple more transfers, and you're thinking, okay, well, these guys are going to
upgrade.
But at least have the wherewithal to think, man, the offense sure didn't look good. We didn't have Jordan Travis running around. Maybe, just maybe, this offensive line to succeed needs a runner do back there making plays with his feet, not the slowest quarterback in Division I. That was crazy.
Well, first of all, he wasn't when they
I know, and he got hurt. Yeah, he had run the ball. Yeah, you're right.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, perfect storm is. I think that's more apt. But also, I mean, we did complain about the offense with Jordan Travis.
Right.
The last 5 games of the year, their offense
struggled
before he got hurt. Yeah, I mean, we did, but we didn't think. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Hey, we turned the page. I do think since we can't be at practice, maybe we could just do like fill that time with just talking about 2024.
Make stuff up.
No, we're just talking about 2024.
Oh, God. Yeah, that'll get a lot of viewers.
Tell you, let's us back in practice.
That'll get a lot of viewers.
It's just $1 a week. That's all it is. Yeah, $1 a week.
Yeah.
For Ira and Corey, I'm Jeff. Thanks, everybody. Bonus hour forthcoming. Stay with. Be good. Peace.